Okay, we are back with career path. Say hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Myra. We're going to be talking about career path and assessing our skills. What skills and a way that you can find your career path is finding those skills that are easy for you, that you're good at. I gave the example before. My nephew was good at baseball, so he continued playing that in travel ball, college, and he ended up graduating in kinesiology, and he's going to be coaching now in a school. So that's how, I think it's a great lead in to how you can find your purpose to wake up. Run. What's your take on this?
Yeah, we talked about assessing your skills and finding your purpose last couple of shows. And just to recap, basically get up in the morning ready to learn something new or do something you love or both, right? So that's where I would definitely start, especially if you're young, for high schoolers and college students watching and listening. I'll share a little story of mine. So after I got out the military, it was time to find a career. So I was going to go to the community college where I lived and take up welding because it interests me and it fascinated me a lot, like just welding and working with metal and all that stuff. So I went there, man, and I had the GI Bill, so tuition wasn't a problem or anything, and I was ready to go. But for some reason, I couldn't get in this program. It's like I kept hitting a brick wall. It's like the times and the openings, and yes, do this, take this. It's like, why is it so hard, right? One of the counselors was pushing me to HVAC, right? That's heating and
Okay.
AC. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I got into that and come to find out on the AC system, those pipes have to be welded together. So I end up having to do not all the different types of welding, but I got my fix, right?
I
Um,
am loving fish.
yeah, come to find out now that I started working in the field, when you're working the trades like HVAC, welding, electrician, you're going to be working with other trades, right? So you see what's
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
probably retractors and all
Yeah,
that.
right. I found out that I actually made a good score was put now I think, man, did the universe gotta be there? Sometimes you think you might know what you want to do, but then you're led a different way. And then it ends up being something better. Cause I found out that I probably wouldn't have liked welding as much as I thought I did. And I still get to do it to do more welding than most of those fat guys do because I was helping out welders. They'll show me stuff. Just like I said, for me, it all goes back to just taking a step forward towards things that you like to do or that interests you, right? Because if it interests you, you're going to go that direction. You're going to either find out if you like it or not, or maybe be led a different way, like I was.
Looked like you were open to that too, to giving it a try at least.
Yeah, I was. You should be, right? Because that's a good point, actually, Jim, because if you're not open to things, and that's basically resistance, right? That's something that Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. If you're not open, what happens is you're like blocking things coming into good things wants to happen for you in life, but it can't if you're not open to them happening for you.
What about you, Debbie? This is going to sound like probably people think I'm morbid, but growing up, our family, we had family friends that they owned their own mortuary. And as kids, when our families used to go to functions at the church or whatever, they would take turns as to who was going to babysit who. So there was many times we were being babysat by people that owned the mortuary. And as kids, we used to go downstairs into the rooms where the coffins were, and we would literally go into the coffins and close the meats part right. So that when somebody else came down, jump out at that. I was very interested in this stuff. And I thought, that's it. I want to work in a funeral parlor. And this stuff didn't bother me back then. So I thought, okay, that's good. So when I became a nurse, for my thinking here, I thought, perfect. My husband is the most even tempered man you ever wanted to meet. I told him, I said, all right, John, you could be the funeral director. I'll do the embalming because that's right. You needed an RN license and a couple of extra courses. My daughter was a cosmetologist. I was so thrilled we were going to have our own funeral parlor. This was something I was very passionate about because sometimes the way they take care of people when you have a funeral and stuff is You're not very compassionate.
That's compassionate too.
Right. That's what I was saying. I
Yeah.
was the compassion in me. So I thought, okay, this is great. So I told my daughter, I said, all right, you could do the hair and the makeup and that. And then when the grandchildren are a little bit older and that, they can drive the hearse and all that other stuff. They turned around and they looked at me like, what are you thinking? Are you not? They're like, maybe this is your dream, but this is our nightmare. And I was like, oh, is serious? I go, I'm not joking. I'm very serious about this. We have the perfect family for this. I have no problem. But the people that we used to stay at their house, they lived above the funeral parlor. So we used to go down. Now, this sounds terrible, but we used to go downstairs or we used to try on the dresses and stuff that when people came and they didn't have any dresses for their loved ones. We used to try these things on and lay at the cloth for them to go, oh, no, Lincoln, I know it sounds sick, but we were kids. And it didn't bother me. And it was always a thing like,
It's like that movie, My Girl.
this
with
is
her.
how I want to go, but this is how I want to be treated. This compassion thing. And then I looked into it, and there's a place up by Knott's Berry Farm, and they have a school there. And I was talking to this lady one time. I went in there, and it was Davis or something. And she said to me, oh, yeah, you'd only need to take a couple of courses, and you could do this. You could do the embalming. And I said, oh, that's good. I have no problem with this. I looked at bottom some for work. But when they come in, I could deal with this. And I thought, what a beautiful thing. My whole family, we had a family business, and it's one of those businesses that requires you to be very compassionate. And my husband is the type that he's very soft-spoken and compassionate and patient. And they bought this weren't buying into your dream. No, they weren't. So what was missing? My damn family. Damn it. Darn it. Oh,
Ain't that a shame?
it is, because if we would have been perfect to know my family, if you knew them, you would understand why this was something that I thought would be totally possible.
Oh, yeah.
Just what skills are on.
My skills,
Yeah.
his skills, my daughter's skills, it's flawed.
Yeah.
Grandson.
It made sense, right? Yeah.
I would have this idea about, yes, with your skills, we can do this and this. And you're the only one that buys into that dream. And they say, that's great. Who are you going to get to help you? Because it's not going to be me.
I know, they looked at me like I was crazy.
And that hurts. I get it. Because that's
Because I researched it so much.
Yeah. And you have that thing that you feel called to do, and that you think, yes, all the stars are aligned. This is perfect. And nobody but you is buying into it.
Yes, I know.
This whole time that's great. I think that's a great idea. But what are you going to do for a real job? What are you going to do for real?
What might this was a real family job, because I had seen our neighbors do this, taking money hand over fist, and it was like, and I didn't care about the money, but they took care of every family member in my entire high school when they passed away.
But
They took care of my dad when he passed away. Talk about I want to do this for other people. And we had to be a nurse in order to do the embalming and take a couple extra classes. And I was like 3/4 of the way there.
And have the skills.
So
and
look,
have
they
everything.
gave me, I'm telling you, daggers could come out of your eyes. They will shock me.
Yeah, and it hurts. It hurts when people don't buy into your dream.
You could have said that you wanted to start a restaurant, and they probably would have given you the same look. Oh,
Yeah, but it was like people are also afraid of the unknown.
They were afraid of the death thing. But
Mhm.
yet, they watched every season of Walking Dead.
And it's also not their dream. Your
Yes.
that's the main thing.
And you got to get people on your team that's excited about what you want to do. And for a long time, I've not had people excited about this mission. Here's Debbie and Ramon. You're here for the docs and all of it. And you believe in it, and trying to help young people to get their stuff together and just be able to make something and not get to our age and feel like they've not really accomplished anything. I don't feel like I've accomplished a lot. I think it could have been so much better.
Yeah. Very.
Like, I would have been listening to this podcast. I could have avoided all of the toxic people. I wouldn't have done the people pleasing. I could have added probably about a good at least 15 to 20 years of my life not wasted on people who were not good for me, number one. And also being able to not care what other people think,
Mhm.
do what I really felt called to do instead of
Yeah.
doing. And then you think about the people that said, don't, I read a wonderful thing that said, don't take advice from people who are not where you want to be.
Right.
If they're not where you want to be, or they're not making the money that you want to be at, if they're not at the level where you want to be at.
Right.
And then Babe Ruth had a quote saying, all the bullying comes from the cheap seats.
People have to yeah.
I've said a lot about my journey. All I have to say is that just that skills assessment to what am I good at? That's what I would offer. What am I good at? I know I'm good at art, coloring. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at interacting. And
Right.
so I'm going to take those soft skills that I learned and that I'm naturally good at. You match those with your interests. And that's the beginning of finding your career path.
Oh,
With that, I would close this episode, but definitely join Debbie and I for learning short-term planning with how to get all of this into action. Unfortunately, Ramon will not be able to join us for the next episode, but
We will see you the next time.
Debbie and I will see you. And
Ramon.
Ramon's not going to be gone forever. He'll be back with us from time to time when he's able to. We'll end this episode with stay curious. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.